I think it was silly, but all of a sudden I realized that calling elk is a conversation between two elk. You can use a lot of that chorus of sound to ignite emotion within a bull and get a bugle.
Yeah.
But once that happens, all you have to realize you're talking to an individual at that point.
Right.
And so you got to get an ear for, because there are a lot of different bugles, and I hadn't really perceived yet that there was so much nuance in the bugle itself, because I was just so jacked up about that. I got a bull bugle and it's coming in and we're going to get him. I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. And then I've started, and since then you really can hear, are they just mad, or are they just defending a herd, or are they inquiring with you? What's happening?
Little John are walking through the forest, laughing back and forth at what the other one has to say, reminiscing this and that and having such a good time.
Let's get into it before we have too much fun.
Okay.
All right. Hey, this is Brian Trainer. We've got Josh Soholt today at the Front of Center podcast. Front of Center FOC, familiar to you because you've built a lot of arrows, Josh, but the name came to me because it really, for me, for any of us to be effective, we have to lean in. We have to be front of center in life. Of course, an arrow or anything projectile has to be front of center for it to fly straight. And so it just felt good. Also, every other freaking name in the world is taken for podcasts. So good luck finding one.
I think this works good.
It does work. It does work. It's not front and center, which is a temptation for people, but
sure.
So the idea, was just to find men and women that are just have leaned in, and you fit that. Sure. And so Josh Soholt here with me, Brian Trainer, FOC Podcast Room. And Josh, for those people listening, we're going to get into who you are, but I don't know if I would or wouldn't be here. I'm sure I would, but you had a ton. My first day saying, I need a bow. I want to go hunt. I borrowed a bow from Jay Anthony, who was our mutual friend, and he sent me down to you, said, you need to go see Josh.
Yeah.
And so you got me set up with my first little diamond bow, probably the only bow that fit me that was cheap enough.
Yeah, or at least for the emotional amount you were willing to spend on a bow at that time.
Oh God! And now, for God's sakes, I think I was $400 into that bow. Yeah, and that's a cheap sight these days.
Yeah, the world has changed in that way for sure.
What? Yeah. We can get on that, but it feels crazy, dude. Yeah. I mean, I felt like when I shoot that Hoyt RX7 now. By the time it got built out and they gave me the price tag, I was like, I think you've done something wrong.
It happened. The transition happened in about 2016 is when it changed.
It just went crazy.
There was a huge market for a mid-range bow prior to 16.
Yeah.
And post 16,
there's no mid-range bows.
Absolutely nobody wanted one of those anymore. So I don't know why. I don't have a reason.
Is it a flex? Are we all just out here just flexing, going, I spent $2,000 on this bow? I mean,
yeah. I mean, without getting too judgmental into anybody's purchasing decisions, I do. It really did set in where having that high quality stuff was all of a sudden just the expectation and not something that, maybe someday, it became, this is what I need to have to feel comfortable in my own skin.
And dudes are buying a bow every other year now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love those guys. I, used to
as a guy that owns a shop, those are great. Your favorite guy.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, prior to 16, like I would say lion's share of the bows we sold were mid-range, getting people into the game. They came in and they said, looking for a reasonable choice.
Yeah.
To get me going. What do you think? We said, this works awesome. Easy to tune. It's never,
run it over. It'll be fine.
It's just fine. Yeah. It's going to work awesome. Yeah. Okay. That sounds good. And then they came in, and if it wasn't a flagship, they didn't even really want to shoot it. You know, that's fine. It's great. Keeps the world turning on the
But even my second bow, I
sporting
bought
industry
like a
side.
big RX. What was it? No, a CPXL,
Mm-hmm.
Bowtech CPXL.
Yep.
Just I still own it. I'll never get rid of that bow.
Yeah.
For one, it's I think it's maybe
Probably
the fastest shooting bow I've ever seen. It's just between me and it coming together to form that perfect 32-inch arrow, big draw.
And that platform was not widely loved at the time, but those bows, for whatever reason, shoot intensely straight. You can really drill with them.
I still love shooting that bow.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the nice draw cycle that Hoyt has now for me. Anyway.
Well, I mean, that bow's 15 years old now too. So I mean, things have changed a lot. But, Yep.
But it's funny. I'll go to the range with that bow sometimes, and if I'm sitting next to people I don't know, and we all draw back, and it's like they'll look over at me and go, "What the hell did you just shoot?" Because
I think
all that going, it's like it hits the target at 60 yards. You're like, they're looking at me like, "What happened?"
What is going on?
And also, now that arrow's ruined because it went through the back. Right? It went through the rubber on the back of the target.
You're the only guy that ever came into my store and brought arrows back because they penetrated too much.
I did.
Number
I
one,
like,
only
I can't shoot these arrows anymore.
A single person in the whole history of that place came in and did that, and it was you. You got these. I think they were
carbon fiber
injection, platinum injections, or platinum pierces. Yeah, from Gold Tip is what you got, and you had been in FMJs.
Yep.
And you came in, and you're like, I need to switch back to the FMJs because I cannot shoot these through a target at 80 pounds and 32 some inches of draw length. I mean, I get it. That's steel plate territory.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that steel plate. You say that at the tax, Kafaru has like that steel rhino.
Yes,
with a hole in it. And if you shoot through the hole, you get your name in the drawing to win a pack or something like that. I don't know. And I was at a tack with that bow, missed, but not by much, but about a half inch. But my arrow is sitting there, so you hear it, wink.
Yeah.
And the arrow's still there. And the guy that's like judging it's looking at me, and I'm looking at him like, I don't know. We walk up, and that field point had stuck in the steel.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And so he put my name in. He's like, dude, you get to get in. He's like, you're in.
By virtue of that.
It was a trip.
Oh, I like that.
And it just, I don't know how. I mean, it was just nothing in there. You know what I mean? It was enough to where like, he's like, yeah, you can have it. So, I mean, that's, and that bow, even that bow was still, it was less than $1,000.
Yeah.
I think all in.
And that's what they were, at that time. So that was kind of like definitely a high-end choice, obviously in the longer platform.
Yeah.
But they were under $1,000.
Yeah.
But now we're like talking ancient history and stuff. So, but hey.
And that's true. I guess I'm old. We're old. We've got a lot more gray than we did when you were a kid.
Older.
Bow shop. And,
yep.
Let's jump in real quick so people that don't know who you are can get familiar, and then I want to circle back to the beginnings of kind of how you got into what you're doing. But just first question, so we know where you're, like who you are and all that. Where in the world do you sit? Outside of right here in the studio today, but where's home?
Sure.
Where do you spend your day?
Yeah, LaPorte, Colorado is home. Been in Colorado since 2010. Before that, I lived in Idaho, Wyoming. Before Idaho, let's see. Here's how it goes. Grew up in eastern South Dakota.
Yeah.
Went to college in Laramie, Wyoming, and then lived in Northwest Wyoming for a few years after college.
Okay.
And then moved up Boise, Idaho for 2 years, and then Colorado since 2010.
Yeah.
That was my upbringing and journey through places I've lived. But it's been cool to kind of tour through some pretty great mountain states.
I was going to say some really good hunting country.
Yeah, really good. That's always obviously been a priority for me, but as far as where I'm located, but ended up in Colorado to start a hunting store and pro shop with my buddy Tyler, and we did that for about a decade. Had a great time with it. It was a cool place.
Super cool.
At the time when we wrote the business plan, there wasn't really there was not mountain hunting products designed for the layered clothing systems didn't exist. The high-end backpacks geared for hunting didn't exist. None of it. So you would go to like a, I guess I call it soft sport place, like a REI or something like that. And you'd get your technical clothing and you'd get some of that stuff put together. And then you would go to a hunting store and pick up your implements and your camo. But
Right.
but when I started, I had an extra large long sleeve cotton camo shirt and a pair of 6-pocket pants in camo. And all of my technical stuff would go under that. And then whatever I was wearing that day, at the time, XL was pretty oversized for me. So I would put that over everything at the end.
Yeah.
And that's how camo was created on top of all my layers. But
yeah, because then you were back then you're wearing whatever came out of like a Patagonia or somebody like that you're wearing.
Right. And so that original business plan was supposed to be online only. And then we were going to kind of be meshing those worlds on one website so that you could have some hunting gear and that high-end technical backpacking gear all in one location.
Yeah.
And then as we waded into it, we realized none of these companies would do business with you if you were online only at that time. So you had to have a brick and mortar store so they could hold you accountable to pricing and all of it. So we're like, well,
and force you to buy some level of inventory and bury you essentially at the end of the day.
Right.
Under her.
So then we ended up in the Fort Collins area. Tyler ended up here first. We were both not loving our jobs. We were 27, just getting started and didn't know anything, but decided to just jump into trying to do this. And we tried to buy the bow shop that was in Fort Collins. It was for sale at the time.
Yeah.
We just didn't come to the middle on that, and that's all right. When that didn't work out, we're just like, well, let's just start one then. So we did, and got that all rolling and had the pro shop and simultaneously, all of those companies that we kind of know now were emerging. And so
I still remember that in your shop, even going in like the first couple of Sitka items showing up, right? And then I think like First Light had some base layers that they were dabbling
in.
And
another kind of like historical fact between our groups is Jay was the first guy that ever bought Sitka from me.
Really?
Yeah. The first
that makes perfect sense.
Customer that bought a set of Sitka from us was Jay.
Really?
Yeah.
And you guys had probably brought in a very large, the bill probably to you to go, are we going to take this step?
Oh, it was massive. Yeah.
Bring these in and you're 27 years old going, can we really spend this kind of money? Is anybody going to actually buy a $200 pair of pants?
Yeah. Yep. We were sure they would, but we didn't know anything.
Yeah.
and people did, fortunately. So, but at that time they were kind of the main player at that time. And then it's obviously branched out immensely from there. But yeah, so that was how that got rolling. And then kind of went on a journey with that company. When we started it, neither one of us had kids. We were in our 20s. We could throw in 120 hours a week or whatever if we needed to.
You could live on ramen.
Yeah, it was
do
just,
whatever you had to sleep in the back of the shop kind of lifestyle.
Big deal, right? And 10 years later, 37, each of us had 2 kids.
Yep.
Life was changing, and the competitive nature of retail was changing.
Yeah. You have companies like Scheels that came into town.
Yeah, and that was part of it. Honestly, the online transition to shopping was definitely our biggest detriment. But then Scheels was, like the death knell.
Yeah,
which is fine because that place is amazing. And it was time for a lot of other reasons also for us to move on. So it forced us into a transition there.
But it is hard. You do, it's, I think from us on the consumer side, you do miss having your little hometown shop.
Yeah, for sure.
Guys that know your bow, know your arrows, and they've they're on that journey with you into like figuring out the season, and you kind of grow together in the business.
Yeah.
And your pursuit of the outdoors. And there is something that's lost in the big chain there that is sad where, even here, like the guys are amazing at Scheels actually. I feel like we're doing a commercial now, but they're good. They're quality dudes, and they care a ton.
Yep.
But it is something like that experience with me going, hey, these arrows are hitting too hard, and just kind of getting to play that game with you guys, and you get to have that. You guys find joy in that too, and that is something that is kind of missed now. When I think at least up where we live, we just don't really have.
Yeah, and you could put that example, into every industry in America. Every type of retail industry in America, you could set that because it's just the way it's going. But we took that knowledge that we gained from sitting in a pro shop for a decade and doing this professionally over and over, and turned it into an online school
Yes.
With Bow Tune School, and have been running that since 2019. As part of, and Tyler and I are still partners on that, and
that's
it's really cool.
And that's neat too, because I think you're seeing that in the archery world too, where those are becoming more tunable at home.
Yes.
Right. And I don't pay a lot of attention to that, but I know talking to guys that love that part of the shooting world is tuning and tweaking and some of that. And I think that they're getting easier to kind of self-tune, right?
Yeah. And with that same tide that's changing, with a lot of the neighborhood pro shop type stuff going to the wayside.
Yeah.
I think there is a service gap sitting there that some box stores do a pretty good job of handling tuning and all of that, but it kind of depends on the technician behind the counter.
Right.
You're like not sure if that person was like selling shoes last week, sometimes.
Sure.
And so I think there are a lot of people who are wanting to take that mission into their own hands and pack their own parachute, so to speak.
Right.
And then they can be kind of that person for their hunting group also.
Yes.
Where if a buddy's having an issue, they know how to fix it, and it can save hunts. So, but that's been a fun thing to do. It's been a fun thing to sort of spread that education and empower people to handle this stuff on their own.
That's cool. And that's Bowtune.
That's bowtuneschool.com. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And that's you and Tyler still?
Yeah. But it takes it all the way from basically pulling a bow out of the box, changing the strings, building on all the accessories, taking it all the way to broadhead tuned. It's sort of a full encompassing A to Z guide on how to do that in 13 modules.
I think that'd be worthwhile for anybody, especially somebody who's starting, but I don't think it'd be just that. I think anybody just learn the equipment so that when you are maybe, you are pulling back and you go, something's funny here.
Mm-hmm.
Just maybe knowing where to start.
Right.
Where like I'm spraying arrows all over the place, or everything seems to be left. And yes, you've got the Indian or the arrow kind of dilemma there always, right? But it at least helps you eliminate, hey, that implement, like you said, is dialed in.
Yeah.
Now it's my fault.
Right. Yeah, right.
And that's a whole nother conversation, right? But
and the other part of it is having that knowledge set educates you that if you do step into a bow shop or a counter somewhere, you're going to understand exactly what they're doing to your bow.
Yeah.
And the core of why. And once you know those things, it really makes the conversation a lot different with that person across the counter. Not in like an attitude sense, just like a mutual understanding that you know what's going on, I know what's going on. Let's get from A to Z here as fast as we can.
Yep.
Well,
I was having that conversation with my brother Adam, where he went back to it in FMJ this year, was shooting a really light kind of arrow, chasing speed. And his comment to me yesterday was like, man, my groups are so much tighter with a heavier arrow. This bow just likes, it likes pushing that heavy arrow.
And they all do. They get quieter. They get smoother.
Yeah.
With more mass sitting there on that string.
Yeah.
I think where you everybody makes their own decision on what pin gap you're willing to deal with.
Yep.
And then how smooth you want everything to be on the other end. So we all kind of find our own middle. I'm like a 410 grain guy.
Okay.
410 to 420 at the top end is what I like. But,
yeah.
Yep.
I think that's right where I sit is 405, I think, or so right now.
And to give some perspective there, we both have long draw lengths. I'm a 31 and a half.
Yeah, it's the same draw.
And so with a little bit more arrow length involved there too with that weight. So like 8 grains an inch on the arrow weight somewhere in there.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's exactly kind of, I think I'm like it's like weird, like 298 bare arrow.
Yep. They throw your point on.
Plus 100 grains on the front of that. So about 4.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And there's a lot to circle back there too, but
that's all.
That's where you're at. You're located in Colorado here. Thank goodness for, that we're lucky enough to have you in town.
Sure.
Dude, I think a fun question. Ask everybody this. Tell me about your tribe. Tell me about who you support in this world and who supports you. Who's your people?
Gotcha. Well, my brother, he and I run Public Land Tees together. If anybody hasn't heard of that, it's an apparel company that we give $5 from every item we sell back to Public Land Access and Habitat Enhancement are the two projects that we earmark selected. Most of what we do is online.
Yeah, which is fine anyway, right?
Public land tees.
Yeah.
And then we used to do some shows when we were getting going, but
yeah,
we don't really do the shows anymore. It's better to be home and being with the kids and wife and actually being present.
Yeah.
I find a lot of my decisions professionally anymore are based around how much of my presence does this take away from
absolutely
being with my wife and kids.
Yeah. Because that's your people. That's people that you support.
Yeah,
right? That's
exactly.
the people that you're supporting, and I think that's where a lot of us are. I think that it's really fun when you're young, and if you're a young guy and you're starting something, like, go hard now, because once you have those kids and you have, if you're lucky enough to have kids and a wife at home, it's what you want to do. It's not a sacrifice to take away from your other business pursuits, but it's what you want. It's makes going on long hunts harder, and rightly so, because it is, at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit about my job or your job or our work life or a t-shirt company or even, Ruckless with what we're doing here or this podcast. It doesn't matter if I fail.
Right.
If I fail with those guys, then to me, it's a failure anyway.
Right.
That's the ultimate failure. Right?
Yeah. So, I definitely have gotten enlightened sort of in that way. I would say in the last, call it 5-6 years, which I think collectively we all kind of have, just with world changes. I think it changed everybody's sort of between the ear direction on what's actually important.
Yeah.
And it certainly did that for me. So
kids will do that, man. I mean, they teach you how to love. I always tell everybody, like, my daughter taught me how to love. My son teaches me understanding.
Yeah, that's a good line. That's a great line.
Yeah. And I think they were sent to kind of, maybe for me, those were maybe it's me kind of manifesting that, but it really feels like that was the gift they gave me. Right? It was like I had a lot of growing to do. I didn't know it at the time, but once I got to hold those little babies, especially my daughter, and you have a daughter, and I think any man that gets to have a daughter goes like, oh, now you know what love is. You know, your son's the same, but it's different. But once you have a little daughter in your life, it changes the way you view the world. Yeah. And it changes the way you love. And especially if you're still married, you get to love, the way you love your wife. I know that was a huge change for me, was it just getting to hold that little girl and go, oh, this is different. I'm different. Yeah. And I get to share that now with my spouse and with other people, and
pretty great.
And yeah, it really is it's an automatic, kind of almost an automatic shift in you.
Yeah.
As a man.
Yeah. I'd agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
Other people, my dad, parents.
Did you grow up, tell me let's just dig in a little bit on where hunting came from for you.
Sure.
It's always a fun question. I think some of us are born, without that influence in our life, but there's just something about when you touch that bow or that little BB gun for the first time and you go out and you go, I want more of this. And that was my experience, and it's fine. It wasn't anything my dad didn't or did do. That wasn't his thing, you know? And, but for me, like the first time I had a lawn mowing business I think I started it in 4th grade, which is insane. Now that I look at like my own kids, thinking about like me in 4th grade pushing a mower around my little hometown. Yeah. I think I had 6 or 7 lawns. I mowed them for $5 each.
Right.
But the first thing I went and bought, I drove the 30 minutes away. I was like, we need to go to Walmart. I'm buying a bow.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
It's just like in there for you like that.
It was just, I'd always wanted to just own a bow and arrow.
Pursue.
Like that was the first thing I bought.
Wow.
And after that first summer mowing, it was like the brand was Indian. It's like a little red fiberglass compound, little bow, I don't remember how hard it doesn't. I never thought about any of that except for I could shoot an arrow at something,
Right.
And so then went and got myself a hay bale and just essentially never really stopped shooting a bow, never really knew how to shoot a bow. And I got a bear, but from a yard sale, like an old bear.
Same.
And shot at fingers all through college.
Oh, nice.
I bought at the same yard sale like a pile of just random arrows.
Yeah.
Random. Like I'd had some that were probably like 8 millimeter. I don't know if that's even a size. They were big, fat, probably 6 or 7 like old Eastons.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so that's where it went. I mean, I've told the story on a different podcast already, but I used to take that red Indian bow out and I had arrows that were broken off at the end. I would sharpen with sandpaper the aluminum, and I duct tape a flashlight to the bow, and I'd go out at night and hunt rabbits.
Oh, wow.
In the field next to the house, you
nice.
know, just shoot the eyeballs.
Yeah.
And my dad eventually was like, he's like, you're going to start eating these rabbits because I'm not let you shoot something and not eat it, which was really good on him to go,
right.
If you're going to kill something, you better be eating it.
Better use it.
And so I remember we had like 8 rabbits in the freezer of this house. And we rented, I'm pretty sure we got kicked out of that house.
Sure.
Because we moved all in one day, 4th of July one year, you know, but I remember those tinfoil rabbits in the freezer going like, I hope he just throws us away because I don't want to eat rabbit, you know. And
now you would, wouldn't you?
I would for sure be
great
today.
Now you know they're great,
right? We'd be making some sort of like, what's the recipe that I've been jonesing to make? It's like a dumplings kind of thing or something like that. But so anyway, I mean that was my first thing I bought is a bow and arrow. Always wanted to, but kind of more back to you was, you know, where'd that come from? Because I see on some of your guys' stories that you and Sam will take out your dad and go do that South Dakota whitetail thing.
Yep. We do a kind of a family deer camp back there.
Yeah.
Both my mom and dad's side, I would say on my mom's side, it was more of a fun pastime. He did a couple weekends a year, you know, my grandpa on that side. And on my dad's side, it was more of the calendar year kind of revolved around the seasons of take.
Okay.
You know, they fished
birds,
a lot.
fish.
Yeah. Birds, fish, deer. You know, the deer hunt, they grew up in northern Wisconsin. The deer hunt was like the annual main event of
was it like sort of, I hear about like east, kind of those east guys, Wisconsin's not all the way east, but everything's east of me in my mind. But kind of that Thanksgiving, you know, like that was what you did at Thanksgiving, right?
School was called off for those 2 weeks of deer season. You know, there was no expectation to be there. Yeah, that's what they do.
Magical land.
Pretty cool, right? So that was his upbringing. And then he brought us up, you know, sort of in that way. It was the way that we spent time together away from the noise. And so as kids, you know, I'm pretty sure that when I was really little, 4, 5, 6, basically my mom must have told my dad, if he's not with you, then you're not going. Because at that time I went quite a bit when I was just a little kid, sitting in the deer stand or a goose pit or tailgate of a truck or pheasant hunting or whatever it was, you know, whatever we were up to, what I was there, you know, and he always took me, which I think was a huge, like everybody doesn't get that. You know, a lot of times dad leaves the house and the kids and mom are home and he goes and does his thing. But my dad always took us. So if it was fishing or hunting or whatever it was outside, that was the way that we connected. And so it set hunting for me in as just this great time of life because we were together doing that stuff. And then when I was 12 and started shooting, I think simultaneously my dad could start to see the social pressures that were going to start to mount on us.
Yeah.
And he said, if you don't drink till you're 21, I'll buy you any shotgun you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the time that was just like an amazing offer. You know,
that's an easy
like,
yes.
It was easy yes. For 12. Sure.
12.
Yep. So I, you know, like you haven't experienced any of that yet.
Yeah.
And so I started off on that direction. And I think that some people grow up in places where there might be a group of people that are kind of like not doing that stuff that you could positively associate with and still have a social life. My group and class, that didn't exist. And
was it a pretty small town where you grew up?
Not really.
Yeah.
But anybody who, you know, my decision not to embark on any of that as a teen was based on this. A shotgun, which at the time was an item when I made the agreement, but then became like you know, is this something I can do for myself?
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, we all want to not fail in the eyes of our dads.
Yeah.
You know,
you hope.
And so
a father now, right? You hope,
yeah. It became this other thing, like a can I do it thing. Well, then I've always been just totally obsessed and wrapped around the axle about hunting. I mean, forever. I'm sitting in the crabapple tree in a tree stand in the backyard in the suburbs of Aberdeen, South Dakota, I mean, there isn't a deer anywhere, but I'd be there for a few hours. You know, like I've always connected with that.
Yes.
But as I got into high school and some of that stuff changed, and if you're not doing everything everybody else is doing, the phone stops ringing to hang out. Right.
Yeah.
And so hunting became like a total way for me to be out and productive and in a total escape from whatever pressures I was feeling either way, and a release for myself to, other than athletics, to just be doing something I loved and happy and on my own out. And I was lucky to have parents that I had a Ford 89 Ford F-150 stick shift pickup and gas in the tank and a box of shotgun shells. And that was my weekend.
That was your childhood.
You know, like I would leave. I was out. I was just out there doing whatever, knocking on doors and tracking stuff down and with the bird dog, and just that's what I did. You know, other than the absolute responsibilities that were necessary in my life. And then college came. I basically made my only college decision was I did want to go to college, but I wanted to be able to go to college somewhere I could elk hunt.
Yeah.
I never elk hunted before. I just knew that that was my next step and something that was just inside me to do. And I looked at Montana or Wyoming, and Wyoming was like a third of the cost at the time.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, Wyoming.
Yep.
So then I get out there, unload my stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff in the room, but no person. So my roommate had gotten there before me and was gone. And I showed up on a Friday night. Saturday comes by, nobody. Mm-hmm. Sunday comes by, nobody. About 10 p.m. on Sunday night, this guy drags himself through the door in flip-flops with a pack in camo, and that person was Tyler Matthews.
Really? And you were like, thank God.
So he drew a pretty cool tag in Wyoming and had been bow hunting all weekend before he swung through, dropped all his stuff off the dorm room and left.
And went elk hunting.
And archery elk hunting. And by the next weekend we were going together and then lived
the rest is history.
Parallel
you
life.
Didn't have the chance to get a tag, so you're just
I didn't. My first year I just planned on just going and figuring it all out, which I did. So both of our dads hunted. Mm-hmm. Neither one of them.
He was a Riverton, Wyoming kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, split time Riverton and then Eastern Kansas.
Okay.
Went to school Eastern Kansas. Was with his mom during the school year, and then dad lived in Riverton, and then he was out in Riverton, Du Bois in the summer times.
Yeah.
And so another kid that just grew up obsessed about the whole thing, and they did like a roommate selection process at Wyoming. You had 3 items that you could put your interested in, and I think both of us put hunting, fishing, athletics. Yeah. And then we just ended up getting paired based on those 3 words. And then we kind of lived a parallel existence for almost since, you know what I mean? That's where it's been that way. So we did the Western big game scene for me was, I was 19 when I started that. And then by the following year, I did get an elk tag sophomore, junior, and senior year of college. Awesome. And hunted elk pretty hard.
Do you have the ability, think you can look back and go like, okay, what are the 3, I don't know why I picked 3, what are the 3 things you learned as you kind of went into those elk woods from being a kind of a whitetail bird guy, Eastern South Dakota?
Yeah.
Right. What do you feel like that if you look back now and you would go like, here's the big 3 things I learned those years in college chasing?
So the one thing is that the clothing is different. Elk hunting clothing and whitetail duck goose clothing is very, very different. And all I had was that stuff. So I made that work for a year. But pretty quickly, and my solution to it was I went into an Army surplus store and bought wool, various thicknesses of wool stuff, and didn't have to spend too much money on that. And then did the same trick of putting the cotton tee over the top.
Yep.
But slogged around with that. I think that's one. Second was how important sleeping pads are.
Amen, dude.
I didn't have one, so my sleeping pad at night was the old pine bough under the tent base, and then stacking all my clothes that I wore during the day on top of the tent material, and then sleeping on top of that. And like, I made that work.
Yeah, when you're 19, it works,
it
right?
worked.
You're still kind of jello boned.
Mm-hmm. And you could hold enough heat from that to kind of get a night's sleep.
By. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was pretty quickly after that season in the wintertime. But I think I put it on a calendar in a freshman year of college. We only stayed in the dorm 70% of the nights. Like 30% we were camping during our first year of college. Yeah. I went on academic probation after the first semester and then pulled myself back into good standing by the end of the year. Yeah. But it was, we spent a lot of time outside.
Hit and miss. Yeah.
It was very, very, very low priority in being in Laramie. But let's see. That was cool. 3 things. And then footwear. That would be the third. I had a pair of Rocky corn stalkers, I think is what I was rolling into with that. Cause upland guy, whatever.
Yeah.
And I bought a pair of Dunham hikers, which were pretty good. And then I'm a kind of guy now where I'm in shoes.
You run like a kind of a Solomon maybe type, kind of water-ish proof.
Mm-hmm.
And you've always told me that, and I've avoided. I mean, I'm wearing like these are Hanwogs because I got a good deal on them at a trade show. But I kind of the week before hunting season, I mean, I've been rucking in these throughout the summer, but I tend to wear them like the week or two before I'll kind of to work everywhere I go, just to kind of get used to the feeling of them on the feet.
Yep.
But you rock a tennis shoe a lot of the time.
Yeah, until I'm forced out of it by the snow. And I'm not preaching that to anybody else because everybody's feet are different, ankle structure and all that. But for me, my ankles do better. My feet certainly do way better. I like having the softer rubber sole. I'm not a Vibram guy.
Yeah, these suck. I mean, after this foot surgery on this right foot, like I feel like I'm walking on a box of marbles.
Mm-hmm.
The left foot's like, let's go, I'm good all day long. But this one hurts like hell.
Yeah.
So I am going to go to Shields this afternoon and kind of mess with maybe a high top sort of. Who makes that? It's like
Solomon X Ultra.
Yeah, Solomon makes a bit of a high top soft.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's several. Morel does some. I can't wear Morels; they're not the right foot shape for me.
Yeah,
but a lot of people run those. Or I guess most of their SKUs aren't. But the other thing I really like about the shoe side is every step is quieter than steps you take in boots.
Yeah.
And the other part that really, really adds up for me is when you're going across scree fields or you're going over rock face and you do a lot, where maybe it's just a boulder or whatever, but you're kind of like coming over the front edge of that boulder and your momentum starting to take you over the top. The amount of traction that you have off of a softer rubber tennis shoe, it's just like putting on a Blizzaks on your truck or whatever, you stick
to it. Yeah.
And so when I shift back to boots, I spend, the first couple days doing some major side skidding and stuff because I'm used to getting stopped by the shoe, and then the boot just like slides on that surface.
And the boot's nice for some of those like really hard Scrabble stuff.
Yeah.
It does help do some ankle support. What about like you wear a gaiter with the tennis shoe then to keep
not usually
water out of moisture out of the thing for like little creek stream crossings and things like that?
No, I always pick like a waterproof, breathable shoe, and then I have 3 pairs of socks I take with me.
You just make up for it with some socks.
I just rotate socks. So I usually do 1 pair of socks at camp, 1 dry pair of socks in my bag, 1 pair of socks in my feet.
Yeah.
But my plan is, as long as it's warm enough, just to walk dry.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No, because your feet are sweating so much anyway. I can't tell which way the water's coming from.
Yeah.
That's true. And that heat's just pushing that moisture off away from my foot all day anyway. Yeah. And getting moisture out of a shoe is infinitely easier than out of a leather boot.
Yep.
It just pushes quick.
It pushes out. Do you have a favorite sock? Do you have a sock that's just like your go-to?
Darn Tough.
Yeah.
Yep. I've ran a bunch of different stuff, and those hold up.
Oh, and they got a lifetime warranty.
They do, and they hold up like years longer than everything else. It's not even close.
Yeah. I've got a couple of pairs, and I'm like, that were given to me by a buddy, and I'm like, I want to wear them out so I can try this warranty thing out. but there just aren't.
Yeah, they kind of figured it out. They're like, sure, we'll warranty them.
Sure, we'll warranty.
Good luck with all of them. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I run there. But when the snow does fly or it just gets too cold to run that kind of stuff, then I go to a schnees, like a high lace. Once I go to boot, I go all the way to like they are, you could kind of lumberjack looking almost kind of stuff, but high. And then I've situationally ran gaiters, but I usually don't.
Yeah.
Like hunting blacktail and Kodiak, I wore gaiters just to keep a little bit of that moisture down.
With tennis shoes still?
I wore, what did I wear in that hunt? The beginning of that hunt, I wore just my Solomons.
Yeah.
And then it, like day 2 or 3, it just dumped rain and snow, and then I switched to boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, out here in the West, I mean, Rocky Mountains, pretty dry.
We're pretty dry.
Pretty dry.
We are.
And there's usually a rock to step on to get over that creek.
Yeah.
And if you end up in a little bit of a bog, I just don't try to go deep enough where it gets over high top.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It just works well. More it's just the foot pain. I get such reduced foot pain from that system that I do it.
Yeah, that's the balance, right? It's just it can get really painful, especially, I had another guy in here, Chris, on Tuesday, and I've always figured when I do track it, if you're hunting actively, you're about 10 miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty rare if you're up in the Western mountains that you're not.
Yeah.
You won't even notice it. You just kind of, without thinking, you're calling, you're walking, you're chasing, and next thing you look at your phone, you go, I went, 13 miles today.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely would. I have seen a mass decrease in my distance walked daily with my education set.
Yes.
And like as I've learned more through the years, I was kind of touching on that when I was talking about Tyler and I. We didn't really know what we were doing at all.
Yeah.
And there was not good resources at that time to really find out.
No.
I mean,
no.
2002,
Right.
Right. You couldn't figure any stuff out other than going. So that's what we did.
I mean, YouTube was barely a thing.
Yeah. And nobody was like producing hunting content on YouTube or nothing.
No, we take a lot of that for granted. When Jay and I were in here talking, he started in 92.
Yeah.
Right. Which was like, might as well be the Stone Age of, I'm learning that. And so let's touch on that, because that's kind of where I want to get into the stuff I want to pull out of you selfishly.
Sure.
Is let's just kind of go down that road. That's where my head's at. We're almost September 1st.
Yeah.
We're sitting in Colorado. I got 2 buddies I'm texting with this morning. I've got a couple texts since we've been sitting here, and I'm like, it's so hard for me not to like look at my phone and see if somebody shot an antelope this morning, and it doesn't look like they did.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me not to look at my phone and go like, I know Tyrell was at 56 yards on a you know what I mean?
Nice.
On a buck last night. Joel has one that he's waiting for him to bed down.
Cool.
So where my head's at, like I'm on a ruck this morning, the sun's coming up, and I'm like, LFG boys. You know what I mean?
It's time.
Let's go get it.
Yeah.
And so that's where my head's at. And so that's kind of what this is my studio. I can talk about what I want to.
That's right.
So it's like, for me selfishly, as I'm getting ready to go in the woods, you had a pretty good year last year.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yep.
In my mind, because you got to back some dudes up and put them on some good bulls.
I did.
And you had some really cool insights. I know we went and had tacos kind of right after the season last year, and you were fired up, dude. You're I got it.
It kind of reignited my whole situation.
Yeah. So you don't have to walk me through the whole hunt. Don't, of course, tell us where.
Yeah.
But tell me what after 15 years of hunting, and 15 years later you go,
it's like 20 whatever.
Yeah,
23
years of chasing these things now.
Yeah.
And so you go, I'm changing it. I don't know that you said you're changing everything, but it kind of felt that way.
It was definitely a shift in approach.
The whole new playbook.
Yeah.
Like, old one's out the window.
Yep.
New playbook. Tell me where we're at. What's the new playbook, man?
So this is going to get a little whimsical.
Please do.
Okay. Part of it's my mindset going in.
Yes.
And I've had a major shift the last 2 or 3 years where I went from like getting pumped for the season.
Yeah.
And I know that's a lot of fun.
It is.
And if, you know, if that was part of my process for an awful long time, like I'd get my adrenaline. I mean, I would wake up and that adrenaline would hit, you know, just thinking about it's coming. And I know it's like Christmas morning, but I've since changed where I, have had experiences that lead me to believe that the vibration that you're throwing out there makes a difference on what shows up. And
that's becoming a common thread with this conversation with hunters this last 2 weeks for me.
Interesting.
That how you show up in the woods, your frequency when you're out there matters.
Yeah. And I don't even know that it matters like on a non-physical sense where you're like sending out a vibration. I think it has an awful lot to do with just your decision making personally. Like I have to have at least some of it come back to tangible and not just like woo, you know.
Well, it's okay. I mean,
but
I think that's
But you know, there can be a lot of things. We go a whole podcast on that, but chilling myself out and getting my headspace into a place of I am going to. Okay, I can really like this. I think what I used to do is it would be like going swimming in a stream, and like a slow moving stream, like, you know, flatland tail, you know, whatever. It's tailing out. It's just kind of easy flowing and cool, right? And I'm like sprinting out of the vehicle and charging to the creek and ripping my shirt off and diving in against the current and just like splashing and going crazy. I feel like that's how I would start hunts for years and years because I was so jacked to be out there, and I still am. But it was just like, wow, you know, that whole boom, and I would hit the water like that, and that experience would happen in that way. And now, I feel like I'm more sitting next to the bank for 5 minutes, letting the sunshine warm me up a little bit, get myself prepared to get in the water, and ease myself in with the current going downstream and just laying on my back and floating down current.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm entering the space that way.
Yeah.
And I just really feel like that's made a huge difference to me. And the clarity of the decisions that I'm making, the tones that are coming out of my calls, the way I'm able to perceive what's actually happening around me and pick up those tiny little things more than I used to. You never
almost
get it
like
all.
Instead of telling the bulls something with a call, you're asking a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. Right?
Yeah. That's
like
some of it.
A shift to go.
Some of it.
Hey, where are you at? Versus I'm over here, mother effer.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which I think is something I've shifted that's made a big difference in my hunting is.
Yeah.
Let me ask some questions of these woods, right? Let me ask, where should I go?
See what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. And kind of approaching with that mentality and more of a let's just ease into this and get information on what this experience is going to teach me. What's it going to show me this time? And not like, I'm going to get an elk, motherfucker. You know?
Yeah.
Because I've definitely been that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. That big blow and go.
Oh, man. Yep.
All those miles and you're ridge running. You know what I mean? Which is fun. There's a big warrior piece of that feels good.
Sure.
Especially if you have been cooped up in a box for, 11 and a half months.
Yeah.
Right. So those guys that are there, I get that, but I completely agree with that. I mean, I've found that so much like in the fly fishing space for me where I'll go with buddies and I'm like, I got my thermos in my backpack and I'll sit next to the river.
Yeah.
Just watch the river for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And just for one, say thank you, to the opportunity, to the fish, to the river, and just connect with it first and go, how about me and you do this dance?
Yeah.
And really get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think putting that into practice with the actual hunt, like a day of a hunt, and maybe we can just talk about elk hunting.
Please.
Now I'm not like a specialist, I've always, my main goal, my macro goal as a hunter has always been, I want to be like an incredibly proficient generalist. So I've
Yeah.
never wanted to be like this one thing or chase
Right.
this one deal. Like I want a total knowledge set and capability with everything you can pursue.
Drop me
So
in any woods,
wing
anywhere in the
shooting,
world.
duck hunting,
Yeah.
the duck hunting, goose hunting thing, all the big game stuff. Like I'm more interested in being like the whole picture is interesting to me. But let's keep it elk hunting here because we're right before that season, and
that's where everybody's
your guys' adventure right now with Rucklist is definitely geared towards that freelance guy that's putting a backpack together, and
that's the hope, man. That's
getting
the dream.
out there and getting
if
after
we can
it.
help one guy like really go out and experience what
You'll
we've
help a
all
bunch of
fallen
them.
in love with.
Yeah, you'll help a bunch of them.
Yeah,
it's awesome. With elk, I've kind of figured out that in calling specifically is for years and years I went about it where I was a group of elk talking to whatever elk might be out there.
yeah.
And the
so you'd be throwing out a bull.
Yeah, kind of had a series of stuff where you warm it up with some mewing and some hot noise stuff, and then a bugle to cut it off at the end and kind of start over and run that for 30, 40 minutes and then kind of move to the next basin and start again.
Yeah.
And what I've kind of shifted, and it started with a bull that I called in for my dad. The only one he's ever shot with his bow. We'd hunted 4 or 5 days, and I'd been doing just some general calling stuff, and we'd had some action, but nothing closing.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of towards, it must have been later in the hunt. It must have been day 6 or 7. We ended up on this hillside, and I just took out kind of a hot cow noise, and I just put one tone out there, like is anybody here? Kind of.
Yeah.
Is anybody here?
One
note, one hot estrus, kind of like, I'm excited. Is there anybody else here?
Not real horned up, just a really simple.
Just kind of I would say 3/4 blast as far as length of a hot estrus call.
Through a bugle tube, just for the technical side of it?
No, it was just with a hand cup,
Yeah.
And this bull, all of a sudden I heard it in his bugle. He asked me, like, are you alone? I could hear, because his bugle was so non-committal.
Yeah.
It was like, like that. And I turned my face and then sound towards him, and I just answered like, yep, in a pretty short burst. And then I could just hear him walking in. And then he came over. That was
the whole interaction.
And he came over the top of this rise, and he said another one, he asked me, I could tell he was like, really? Like in his bugle.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just like way more laid back. Way more, you know. And then he just walked straight into us, and my dad got him. But it was like this. All of a sudden, and I think it was silly, but all of a sudden I realized that calling elk is a conversation between two elk. You can use a lot of that chorus of sound to ignite emotion within a bull and get a bugle.
Yeah. But
once that happens, all you have to realize you're talking to an individual at that point.
Right.
And so you got to get an ear for, because there are a lot of different bugles, and I hadn't really perceived yet that there was so much nuance in the bugle itself. Because I was just so jacked up about that. I got a bull bugle and it's coming in, and we're going to get him. I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. And then I've started, and since then, you really can hear, are they just mad, or are they just defending a herd, or are they inquiring with you? What's happening? And I've just tried to play on those emotions. And I had another experience where I was solo hunting probably 3 years ago. And I got into a spot where I was just kind of dead for the day, more or less. Like, there were 3 bulls bedded below me, but the wind was like a total nightmare down there, and I couldn't go get them. And so I just started kind of chattering at them. So over the course of about 4 hours, I just, every 10, 15 minutes, I'd throw some mews out there, maybe a small estrus whine, something.
But no bugles.
No bugles, no. And then I shifted. They kept kind of talking to me, and I could tell that there was this 1 out of 3 that was more interested than the others.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started ignoring those other 2 because they were responding a little bit back to me, but I only answered that one that sounded more excited. Like all of a sudden I was talking to him.
Yeah.
And I talked to him a while in this one spot, and then I shifted about 300 yards to a different spot above him. And then I started again. And when I shifted, he was on me in 5 minutes. And so the change of position mattered to him for some reason. And I think that all of a sudden I was over there and he thought maybe I was moving away, or just the fact that it was a change of location.
Yeah.
Gave it an original, like, oh, that's moving. No, there's a cow moving up there.
Yeah.
And then he closed. I didn't end up shooting him, but I got him to 10 yards. And then he just, I couldn't. It was silly on my part where I set up and tried to close at the end. I just should have been better. I didn't have enough draw cover. Being alone, I was just, I needed a better scenario. But I've been doing this for like 4 hours, and I was kind of like, well, they're not coming, but I don't have anything else to do.
Just bored. It's
so just whatever. I found a shady spot.
We've done.
This was in the afternoon. Yeah, did a morning hunt. Got on them. 10:30, 11 o'clock. Stayed on them till 4.
Like, it happens that way, right? There's times when like the cat and mouse just doesn't quite work, and you just haven't quite come together. And now it's 11.
Right.
They've bedded down.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know right where they're at.
Yeah.
There's the whole idea. Can I sneak into the bedroom and get the wind and the whole thing?
Yeah.
But it's like, if it's a herd and there's cows, like, goodness, that's a tough game to play.
It is tough. Yeah. If they're not an open country and you don't have a visual and you don't truly understand,
all of a sudden you're on them. I've done it number of times, and I've gotten in there where I thought, because it's all just me listening to other people talking to stories of, okay, get in the herd, get within whatever your shooting distance is of the, a cow, because that bull at some point is going to get up and walk around, and he's going to check his cows, right? And you should have a shot 55 yards or whatever you're at,
right?
But God, that's tough, man.
It really is
to sit there for probably a couple hours, and there's a cow that's drilling holes through your soul, looking at you. You think anyway, it's a tough game.
And the chances of the wind holding on those hill faces that they picked a bed
are
on
zero,
for that long.
They've been there for a reason.
Exactly. Because it's a washing machine down
Yep.
Yeah. Most of the time. Yeah. Sometimes there's a ridge line and a predominant wind that you can run with, but man, it's tough. I shifted, didn't get that bull, but it made me realize, like, okay, you can be on these things for hours and hours and hours and talk to them, and not, as long as you sound pretty good, they're probably not going to leave. They're just going to maybe get quiet for a while, or they're going to wake back up again, or they just don't care for a while, know. And so I started working off that premise. But when I got to take my brother-in-law's muzzleloader hunting last year, they have some of them, a couple of them have experienced bow hunting, one of them doesn't. So we went muzzleloader hunting just to make sure everybody was going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And these guys are Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. That's where they're from.
Yeah.
And so they did some working out and got themselves ready, and that was cool. But came out but definitely flatland guys who, it's just hard to make that transition, especially it was our first hunt doing this ever. So it was a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. And I had a guy from Montana, Jake, that's on the Mountain Man TV show on a couple weeks ago. And he said, even going from where he's at in Montana, he's at, 6,000, 5,000 to 6,000 feet. And he's running and he's in the mountains all the time. He's running the mountains.
Right.
Said, but anybody goes from that to hunt like 11 or 12, like where we do. He goes, there's no oxygen up there.
Nope. And
there's just none.
I learned that very quickly, because I live in Idaho and Wyoming.
Yeah.
And then coming here and then scouting mule deer one of the first weeks I was here. And I'm like at 12-2, taking 8
There's
steps.
No trees or oxygen at that level.
And then pausing every, 20, 30 yards to keep enough air in my system not to throw up.
Yep.
And then about 10:30 comes like this late 40s couple with their dog trail running to the peak.
I know.
And I'm like, this is a different world, man.
This is, yeah.
And you kind of have to gear up for that, because that's what it is here, right? And it's been fun to make that advancement in myself, which is special. But
and you get used to the fact that, like, we always say it's that 3-day mark where you'll get up there. Day one's going to eat your lunch.
Yeah.
Even though we've been rucking down here, we're at about 5,000 feet.
Yeah.
But no matter what you do, you go up to 11,000. Like, it's just going to get you.
Yeah.
Day one's rough. Day two, you're starting to feel better. Day three, you stand up and you go, oh, I'm a mountain man all of a sudden.
That's right.
And I think it's just learning patience for that as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Knowing like I got 2 days of meat.
Right.
Maybe it comes together, maybe not, but it is also my body is
adjusting
kind of
to all this.
acclimating to this elevation too.
For sure. But I knew that with these guys coming in that we were really going to have one major play a day.
Yeah.
I can't run them all over the place.
Yeah.
I didn't want to either. And so my solution to that was we were going to get up at 3:30 in the morning and we're going to hit the trailhead by 4:15.
Yeah.
And we are going to meander in the dark for a couple hours to get to where we need to be.
Cow calls or anything while you're walking?
Total silence. Yeah, I don't like calling dark because elk are so receptive and willing to come in the dark.
Yeah.
That you start blowing
bulls that might be in that
oh my God. You start blowing calls at night and they just like sprint to you.
Yeah.
And then you blow them up. It's 4:30 in the morning, now you're done. So my plan, I had never hunted this unit for elk.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of learn to read water as you go with this. You know where they're going to be, just based on access points and terrain and what's food's available. And so I just kind of trusted that in myself, and we just went for it. But we would wander and climb in the dark for a couple hours, and then I would get them to tree line.
Yeah.
And I would sit them all down. I made sure that we got the tree line between 15 and 30 minutes before shooting light.
Yeah.
And so everybody sat down, we'd drink water, we'd have a protein bar.
Recover.
We'd cool off, get cold, just reoxygenate, sit there. And then the sun would come up and I was always 200 yards to our play. So I would pick everybody up, we'd get into position, and then I would do a call set. The first bull that we got, I did I always call them Primos style call sets where it's just like the chorus. I mean, it's just the marching band.
Yeah.
And I kind of in a place that I knew other hunters would probably have been already. And I was really just doing like a locating set. I wasn't expecting anything. And then we shifted to the next basin over, staying after that call set was over. Nothing came in. We didn't hear anything. Kind of eased along scrub line for about 600 yards, dropped back into this other basin. And then I went back to that one lone questioning cow and hit a one note, waited. There was a plane coming over all of a sudden. Like I hit this note and then, like shit. But in that, I thought I heard a bugle.
Yes.
And in my past, I would have stayed standing there and just tried to make another tone and tried to push the envelope.
Yeah.
But instead, now I made us all sit down. Like, everybody sit down. And we stayed quiet, and the plane continued all the way over and eventually couldn't hear the plane. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden my brother-in-law, Jason, goes, "Oh, there's a bull."
Oh no.
and it was coming across this basin, but it was off of one tone. It had heard that whole chorus I had gone off with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of acted like
it's
like I was a cow that had left the group.
Yeah.
And then blasted into this new basin, one tone. He answered. I didn't say anything. And then he just walked in. But that bull was 46 inches wide, a 6x7.
A nice bull.
A 6x7.
Really nice.
An old bull that was in regression.
Yeah.
But he stepped out and came to, all of a sudden, Jason's like, "Well, there's a bull." I was like, "Oh my God, that's a tank."
Yeah.
And I just remember laying there. We're in the shade on this, but on the front side of this tree line. And I was like, "Nobody move. Don't even fucking blink." I was like frozen still right now because it's this open alpine basin this thing's coming across. Yeah. There was a little depression. I knew like once he drops into that ditch, I can we can get these guys that can get set, right? Yeah. And then in the meantime, another bull started to close from below us that we never actually saw. And that bull was going to be popping out at about 60 yards. This one's coming across like 200, 180, 160, drops in the ditch. And I'm expecting him to come out at about 100 and then getting a shot there. But then he heard the bull closing from below us and got nervous about that, turned around, went back onto this knob at 200. And
which is a poke for
it's a long way with the muzzleloader.
Your iron sights. You're in Colorado,
Yep.
so your iron sights.
Iron sights.
Center fire.
Yep. No sabots. No sabots.
Yep.
But the one brother-in-law, Ryan, had spent a tremendous amount of time behind his muzzleloader, and muzzleloader hunts a lot in Iowa.
Yeah.
But had kind of gone through the whole process all summer long of really creating a peep sight driven sight system, real tack driver. And he was good to that distance. And I was kind of laying, I mean, it's not exactly like a safest thing, but like I was in front of everybody because I was guiding, kind of in the moment we all had to sit down.
Yeah.
And so he's kind of back off to my left shoulder, and I put my fingers up like this, and I stopped the bull at 200 on this knob. Forgot that part. But like, if anybody's got a shot, send it. And then I immediately put my ears in. And I mean, I think I said it. And it was
called the trigger. You probably felt it.
Oh,
right?
Man, for sure. It was like the front row of the concert when the 808 just pounds. I mean, it was like, feel a full shockwave.
Yeah.
Whatever, 120 grains of black horn coming out at the end of that thing. But he just rocks that bull. I mean, the bull didn't take 10 steps. He was done. And that was that bull. We went in total regression. He was 348, is what that one went. And I was just blown away to be able to pull one out that big, that late in the season alone. Like, that was pretty cool. And then that was day 2. We hunted in a similar fashion for the next couple days. Really didn't get on much. And then day 6, worked up on this totally other mountain. We just needed to go find some other elk.
Yeah.
And
you'd kind of worked over the elk in those two, basin or those.
We kind of messed with, between us and the other pressure that existed there. It's not like a great unit. It wasn't like a 10-year tag. It was like
at one point.
Yeah. It was kind of a gimme place, so it was that they had picked, which was great. I mean, very cool. And then day 6, worked into this bedding area. I had planned on going higher up the mountain, but day 6 with these guys, after already hauling a bull out the mountain, like they were getting to the end. Which I totally get.
6 days is a lot. I mean, for those guys listening that hunt a lot, they know, like, no matter who you are, what kind of shape you're in, there's the mental, you're sick of your food at that point, no matter what kind of tasty stuff you take. Like, day 6 is getting there.
We've been up at 3 a.m. every morning, dragging in, and after the hunt in September, those days are pretty long.
Yeah.
So sleep everybody was all the way there.
They're out.
So we get
why the mountain nap is such a key thing.
Right.
When you're hunting,
that's true.
It's like, man, lay down, get yourself a couple hours if you can.
Big time.
You need it.
So I got about halfway up to where I planned on going up on this little bench that looked really good, towards the top of this mountain. And all of a sudden we kind of stumble into this bedding area, and it's just torn up with rubs. There's beds everywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of take a look at everybody, and I'm like, let's just
kind of stumbled in.
Let's just try to do it here,
Yeah. This is early, first thing in the morning.
Yeah, we were probably. There's a similar situation. A couple hours in the dark, walking.
Yeah.
Get to this one point, chill them out. Had a really nasty, like, probably 350-foot vertical that we had to do, and it wasn't all that bad in sheer vertical, but it was like a lot of hands and feet stuff. And these guys are already,
that takes it out of you.
It does. These guys are already kind of cooked, and like, the next 300 yards is going to suck. And we get on this ridge and you're going to be okay again, but we just got to get through this,
And just so people know, because I don't want to assume, you find a bedding area in the morning. Those elk are right now, they've been up at night.
Mm-hmm.
They're out moving. They're more likely feeding.
Right.
They're not really bedding.
Right.
They're not sleeping through the night in their beds, right? I mean, a little bit, but they're up and feeding. They're doing things, and they're probably going to come back to that bed now, right?
Later
they're
on.
going to go hit water.
And that timing, Yeah, and that timing pretty much resides always simultaneously with when the sun's up high enough to hit that first half of the mountain.
Yeah.
You know, when that sunshine starts to reach the bottom of the sunward side hill.
Yeah.
That kind of signals when everything moves typically.
Yep.
For everybody else too. Or at least that's what I've found. I don't know what you found. But
I agree with you.
yeah. It's like that's like
they'll
that.
be still moving and feeding and walking around, but as soon as like that full face of that hill is covered in sun, they head for the trees.
They go.
Yeah, they're out.
Yeah. And they might kind of hug that shade and keep eating.
Yes.
And then bang, when that sun hits the bottom of that one hillside.
Yep. You're exactly
they're moving. Right. So we were there plenty before that, but I put one of them up above me and one below. And started into a segment where I just was planning on being three cows or 2 cows and a calf, and one cow that was maybe interested in a relationship, and played that tune every 15 minutes for 5 to 7 notes of calling, just in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And 2.5 hours later, after 15-minute segments in between with 5 to 7 notes in the middle of those every 15 minutes, I had heard come in, and Brad shot like another. It's kind of funny. He hasn't put tape on that bull yet, but it's right in there. Like it's another one.
I've seen those bulls next to each other, pictures, and
one of them is like
really similar. One's wider,
super
than the other.
regressed and old. The bull that Brad shot was like prime hind length everywhere. He's not as wide, but he's going to score as good or better than Ryan's did. And yeah, at 25 yards, came past him.
25 yards.
Yep. Yeah. Because I went into that whole muzzleloader hunt like I'm just bow hunting and these guys have guns.
Yeah, that's a great approach.
I set them up in bow hunting positions. I mean, that one long shot just happened to be that way, but it was absolutely not my intention to be taking shots that long. Our strategy was archery, and then we could just shoot farther, and more accurately without drawing a weapon. But yeah, in 25 yards, and he hit it, and that was that. And we called the second one off, and we had one more tag. And I do kind of wish we could have kept going. Yeah. Because I think we could have found Jason a third one. Yeah. But it was after pulling the second one off the mountain in that distance and all of the rest of the struggle. I think everybody got the experience they were after. And we had some really cool special moments.
Really more than you can ever really ask for. Two like mature bulls is a lot.
It was a lot. And it was awesome. But I'm really grateful for that week, because none of us are blood. We're all married in.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 4 sisters.
So 4 sisters.
Yeah.
And so all of us are non-blood related brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
That were out on this adventure together. I mean, and I gotta say, those guys, it was unreal how well they did. Yeah. I mean, the attitudes and what they were willing to do, and just how they were, the whole experience. Like it couldn't have been better, because at the beginning of that, I was like, we are going to know each other differently at the end of this than at the beginning. And that's every hunting group that's ever gone into the woods together.
Yes.
Especially with those harder intensity experiences. You're going to learn who people are. Yeah. And you may have buddies that are your buddies for years and years, and you go out and do that, and like
you realize they're not.
Maybe you don't like each other as much anymore. Or maybe
that's
it binds
become
you.
Our new like hiring for Ruckless is like we really won't hire. We won't bring somebody on the team at a permanent level until they've been in the woods with us for a minimum of 4 days is our goal. Because I think when you're in camp, when you're in elk camp, deer camp, doesn't matter. That whole idea of like chop wood, carry water. Yeah. That's a saying, but it's real. Right. It's real when you're up there, and it's you want to find somebody they're up early. All of a sudden they've gone out and they've got water, fresh water's on. Yeah. They collect a little more firewood. Yeah. It's just that being, making yourself very useful and being capable. Right.
But at the point in life we all are, raising young kids and working professionally and all of it. And the rest of the allotted time that's available to get yourself put together physically to go do something like that, especially when you've never done it before. Yeah. I was positively blown away by how awesome they did.
Absolutely huge. I think that muzzleloader tag is kind of one that maybe I shouldn't say this because we don't need, I don't know. I want more people in the woods. I just don't want them next to me.
Yep.
You know, but I mean, that's a sneaky little good tag. I mean, especially in Colorado.
It's the only
in the
state
middle of the rut. It's like the high peak of the rut, which makes me crazy.
Yeah. As a bow hunter, it's rough. But
yeah. Because we'll be archery hunting during muzzleloader this year. And I'm like, screw it, man.
I know.
I'll be in there with them. It scares me a little, you know, because
I wear an orange hat.
Yeah, I think it's worth it to have just a little orange on your head.
When I'm bow hunting that week, I wear an orange hat. And I think that's, I don't believe I've ever had it negatively affect what I'm doing.
Yep.
But I do feel a lot better with that on.
I won't be wearing my Wayne Endicott elk rubber hat on.
Yeah, leave the hat at home.
Leave the elk hat at home.
That's right.
And the home.
Yeah, your heads up decoy, you know.
I know.
Maybe not.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's funny, Josh. I looked at the clock and I was like, we've been on the horn for a little over an hour, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, I didn't notice kind of time warp.
Sure.
Because it's elk hunting stories and it's fun. And we could probably talk for 2 hours and we'd have to just do it again. But in interest of time, I want to ask you, what's your biggest failure you've had here in the last probably 10 years elk hunting? I don't want to do the first 10 because I know that there's a lot of them in there.
Sure. Yeah.
But as you've learned more and you kind of go, man, I knew better, or this is a thing that was new to me that I learned that I really screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we all learn a lot, right, from our failures as you kind of come home and journal from your hunts and you write down what you learned and you know what you lost and all that. It's always the failure that you go, God darn it, I should have done that better. Like, what's something I can take with me as I go out here in a couple of days and remember, like, oh yeah, Josh said don't do that.
Sure. So what's been a consistent ass kicker for me is not respecting noises enough. Noises of a rock shift, noises of a stick, something moving. Those little tiny things have bit me many times in the last decade. It was illuminated. My brother Sam and I went on a moose hunt in Alaska a few years back. And Alaska is quiet. It doesn't support a lot of life. There's no squirrels chattering. There's no birds chirping.
Yeah.
You know, a couple days in, all of a sudden, like a squirrel will chatter. And you're like, oh, God, there's a squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
But I've never been in a quieter place.
Yeah.
And, you know, if there's a black bear moving through the alder 250 yards from you, you hear it, you know, and you can hear it go through the alder. And there's nothing else there to block out the noise of that thing moving through.
The planes going overhead. You don't realize how many planes fly over your head until you're in the woods.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it's like you're laying on your back midday nap, and it's like clockwork. Every 12 minutes, you know what I mean? There's like another plane.
But
that all makes noise,
right? But I've had it really bust me on a rifle elk hunt 2 years ago where I just didn't respect the noise enough, and it was elk moving like right below me. I was in my binoculars looking across the side hill, and I heard a rock get kicked. Like, that's what came into my ear. And I'm just like, oh, that's too close to be anything.
Yeah.
And I'm in my binoculars looking across the hill.
Valley,
and then I pick my binoculars up and there's a whole herd of elk 60 yards below me staring at me. Two bulls in the herd. Two of them I would have been very happy shooting that day. But I just didn't do it. You know, like my mind heard it. Yeah. My ears heard it. Yeah. I just went, my mind shifted that as like not important. Somehow, because it was inside too close of a bubble or whatever. Yeah. But I know that there's been dozens of experiences over the last 10 years, and it was illuminated by that time in Alaska of being able to pinpoint that noise of the bear going through the woods and various animals.
Yeah.
But there's been so many times that I have heard things moving through the trees.
Yep.
And I have not given it enough respect to take that time to pull my binoculars and pick those woods apart or pick that brush pile apart to find out what made that noise.
Right.
And so I think the one takeaway and improvement I would make is just respect all of that stuff. Respect those noises of movement.
You know, something I'll add to that, and in that same exact thread is 2 years ago, you know, we hunt a lot of public land and we heard a bugle and we're like, that's a hunter, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't need to finish the story because you know how it really went. It was a bull,
Right.
and it was a nice bull, and just not my ego of going. I don't want to have another hunter call me in
Mm-hmm.
and have to have that dumb look on my face, and he's got to piss. You know what I mean? Like we played the game, and you got me. You know what I mean? And just kind of letting go of that. I'm like, I'll let that that I feel stupid moment happen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's times when like, I mean, Jay's good enough. He'd be like, oh, it's a Primos, whatever, bugle tube. Like, he knows it. Yep. And then they'll walk up on us and I'm like, holy shit, he knew the bugle tube there.
Yeah. Those blue reeds
they're pretty obvious.
You can hear
those
them.
Are really obvious.
Yeah, you can hear them.
But this one wasn't. And we were like, it's got to be a hunter. It just sounded weak. It just sounded off. And sure enough, it was a bull.
It was a bull.
Mm-hmm. And so to that same point, like, you're gonna run into other guys out there. You're gonna feel stupid, but don't be afraid to like at least give it a little bit of energy, unless you're just with certainty. You saw him or whatever. But I had that same thing, and I was like, I'm an idiot, man. We should have.
I think a lot of people do that with cow calls too, thinking like that's a hoochie mama,
dude.
But it turns out hoochie mama sounds just
really
like
good. It does sound really good. I know. So that's a staple for me. I always take it, and you feel dumb. She's like,
I know the push,
and you're like, you want to like, and I'm for the most part just to read, but But it's like I always got the hoochie mama with me.
It just sounds just like no.
And Jay's got a really good one. It's like a little 2 pieces of wood you bite down on. I forget the name of that one.
Yeah,
but that one sounds really good too.
Yeah,
I forget the name of it, but yeah. So I like that, man. Like just respecting those sounds. Paying attention, and that goes back to what you said of slowing down, listening. Like that's been some of our most successful moments is we're not running and gunning as much, and slow down. Put yourself in a good spot.
Yep.
If you've seen that there's elk there, there's probably going to be there. At least within a 2 or 3 day period.
Right.
Yep,
that's right. They're going to make their cycle.
It feels like that. It feels like when I'm up there where we go, the places we hunt a lot, it's kind of a 2.5, like 2 to 3 days. It's kind of really 3. Yep. Like if we don't see them on this knob today, it's either they were here yesterday and we weren't, so they'll be back tomorrow or the day after. Yeah. And it's willing to have the patience. Because I feel like there's times when I'm doing this where like I'm going here and they were just there, and you're always just a day behind, and you just do circles for 5 days.
Yeah. The place where Tyler and I hunted most intensely in college, by the end, we had it dialed where we just needed to see the herd once. And if they weren't buggered up by somebody else, we knew where they were going to be every day.
Yes.
For that 3 or 4 days. Like, okay, they're going there, they're watering there, they're feeding there, they're bedding there, and then they feed there and water there and bed there.
Yes.
We just had their cycle down.
Yeah. Like day 1, they might do this ridge, this water, this little chunk of woods. Day 2, they might be that ridge, that water, that chunk of woods. Right.
Yep. But we could pattern them like that, and that was an advantage,
Where do you hunt them? Let's before we wrap up. They go, because I'm just thinking about where I hunt. It's always the same. They're on this face. They're feeding, they move off that face, they go hit water, and they move to these woods. Of those 3 places, where would you set up to intercept them in that, sunrise to 10:30 a.m. sort of cycle that they live?
It seems like I always end up messing with them in bed.
You're going to try and catch them at that 11 o'clock spot.
Yeah, somewhere, or transitioning into or in it is usually where I like the kind of the control of place aspect of that. So
it seems really hard to catch them in that first light.
Yeah,
they're feeding. It just doesn't seem like they're that interested. Like they're like, no, we've got a mission. We're all getting ready to go get some water and go to bed.
Yeah. Don't
bother me right now.
Yeah.
That always seems like a hard time for me to intercept them, unless you just get lucky.
Yeah, and I think you just said it. It's right place, right time when they're in transition at times. But
right.
I think my plan daily is always find them, watch it, try to kill one somewhere between 10:30 and 1. And kind of play them that way.
Yeah.
Because I really, really like being able to control where I set up to play the game. Like I want to be on the precipice of a ridge line with a predominant wind blowing across my face.
Yeah.
I don't really pay as much attention as some guys do of like, am I above them? Am I below them? I don't.
Yeah.
I've called them up. I've called them down. I've called them across. I don't really play that game too much, but I do want, I'm not in a dish. I am on top of the edge of the bowl.
Yeah.
And that wind pressure is going to be absolutely over the top of that ridge unless there's like a front change.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
to keep that part consistent. If I can do that, then we're in business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
At least you have a shot at it that day.
Yep.
But you get down there in the mix with them when it's washing winds, man, and you're just good luck.
Yeah.
I've just gotten by.
Dude, completely. Dude, just because I'm curious, I know I keep saying I'm gonna wrap it up, but dude, tell me like the one thing you've learned a lot about the animals. Like, tell me the one thing you've learned about yourself in the last maybe 10 years or so on, you know, being in those woods. Like, what's the thing, like that self-discovery piece that I tend to really enjoy about being in the woods and getting quiet for a little while?
Yeah.
What's something you found? What's a nugget, man, in yourself?
A nugget in myself is I don't care to do any of this alone anymore.
Yeah.
I used to have a bonfire of intensity going inside of me to go do this, and it didn't matter if anybody was with me or not and who I had to disappoint or not. Like, I was going.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point where if I'm not expanding ties with family or expanding a friendship or sharing something with another person, I just don't care to go.
Yeah.
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 That's been the biggest shift for me. I think, you know, you get a little older, you start to have some perspective.
Yeah.
You start to ask yourself what you're doing out here a little bit. And then how important it is on the food aspect for me. Those would be the two things. I guess two nuggets.
That you're really out there.
Yeah.
To get food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't bought red meat since 2004.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
which
awesome.
which is I feel my biggest claim to success is my kids have never had beef in the freezer.
Yeah.
It's been only the other things. I mean, I'm not saying I don't order a steak or something at a restaurant, but as far as what we eat at home, if it's red meat, it's something
you've harvested
or been directly part of harvesting.
Right.
Yeah.
That's and you process your own.
I do
everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I've taken that step into it. I'm kind of a seasonal guy that way. I garden, I fish, I hunt. And so, that touching my food thing, I'm way into it.
Yeah.
Been doing it for quite a while now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy it. I just know, I mean, all of that type of protein and produce, you know, I'm the only two set of hands that have touched it until it goes on the plate.
Yeah.
I think that's something.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how like this, as hunters, a common thread in these conversations is we're a little bit misunderstood.
Sure.
Like we're this interesting, like we are the Venn diagram. We would overlap with that kind of hippie, you know, a lot more than they think sometimes.
Yeah.
We just approach it a little differently.
Exactly.
You know, but I think it's the same thinking as like, I want good organic food for my family to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, your palate changes. Everything in America tastes like corn, right? The meat tastes like corn. The corn tastes like corn. The candy tastes like corn.
It's all corn.
It's because it's all corn.
Uh-huh.
Which, you know, God bless the agriculture community, the whole nation. I'm not trying to knock anybody for doing what they're doing and making a living and working in the system that's provided to us here. But it's all one taste, you know? Yeah. And so when people go the wild game flavor, it is different. Yeah. I mean, if it's a whitetail that eats only corn in Iowa, it's still kind of along the same lines.
Whitetail in the freezer too.
I mean, they're in South Dakota and everywhere else too, but they're pretty good, right? In Nebraska.
It's amazing.
It tastes great. I mean, you can't say that.
It's like you just see that white, you see him coming out of the cornfield like, you good boy.
Yeah. But like,
keep eating that.
But once you become accustomed to that, not all meat tastes like corn. Your palate kind of changes, and you can really enjoy the other stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
And if not, that's why there's chorizo. Right?
Yeah.
That's why God made sausage.
Yeah. I like doing the sausage game too. That's fun.
For sure.
Making your own stuff and getting your own combinations together.
That's something you can always sort of share with people.
Yeah.
You know,
fire up the smoker.
If they really don't have that palate and they're not accustomed, you can always whip up, like, either you make it into some Mexican food, or last night we had chili, you know, where you're feeding other people, and it's like, you want to share the game with them, but also, like, you know, if you go straight on hamburger. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're not used to it.
Right.
You know.
Oh, it
I
definitely.
feel sensitive to that too because I want their first impression to be a good one.
Yeah, and not to mention what your guests like enjoying what you present them. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
But there's definitely ways to do that with wild game too, and so it's a point of pride for me. You know, I guess. Yeah, friendship and food.
100%. Yeah.
Like what more?
That's all I want, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's all I really
family,
want
friends,
too.
and good food. You know.
Yeah, and we got to experience that the other night. You came over.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was great.
Kind of pre-hunt barbecue.
Yeah.
And just looking around that table and seeing the men and their spouses with them and just going like, these are dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And also they've got these beautiful women that are there next to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just really proud of the men at that table. Just getting to see like these are quality men. They lead quality lives, and you can see the fruits of that in the women that have chosen to spend their lives with them too.
Yeah.
And how lucky we all were because they're just all beautiful people. Like from the sense that like they're good. I'm proud to sit around a table with these people, and there's nobody. There's no anger. There's nobody talking shit. It was just really there, celebrating and just enjoying the time. It was a really positive piece. And so
it's a very true statement.
Dude, as we wrap up, where can we find more of what you guys are about with Public Land Tees?
Sure.
You've got the Botune shop.
Yeah.
You're also helping out. You do some meat.
Yeah.
It's just called
Work with Meat.
Meat.
Yeah. Meat Your Maker, the meat company. We do some advertising work with them. And then, publiclandtees.com is the t-shirt outfit.
Cool. And some sick stickers, dude. You brought me
a little care package.
The stickers in the cup, which are super cool.
That's it.
And so it's, as a, you try and make stickers and stuff that we're doing that with Rucklist, and it's like, I'm looking at someone going, I wouldn't put that on a water bottle. Don't print that.
You always kind of got to ask yourself, like, would I wear that t-shirt?
Would I wear that shirt? Would I put that on my, my Yeti cup? Would I stick it to the, whatever? And so, so publiclandtees.com.
Yeah. And then botuneschool.com. Yep. That's kind of
those are your babies.
What I got going on with that side of it right now. And then, just some dabble in some advertising work, and we'll see what it all goes. I'm guiding some whitetail hunts anymore, but that, that's a whole other thing. Cool.
Yeah.
Where are you going? What are you doing first? What hunt you got first?
Dude, it's my whole focus this year is essentially that elk hunt this year.
Yeah.
I've had my last probably 5 or 6 years where I've had up to 4 elk tags, archery, in a season, which was too much.
Yeah.
I had, a season, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to remember 3 years ago.
I remember talking to you. I think you were up north.
Yeah. I was
feeling
Montana, Colorado, Utah, and New Mexico all in 1 year.
Yeah. I think you were in Montana when I talked to you, and you were pinging a little.
I was done, bro.
I know.
Yeah. I was toast. That was my last hunt.
Yeah.
It was the 5th hunt. I'd done Colorado twice. I ended up at the same time having a buddy that wanted to come out. I was hosting. So I went like opener for 5 days, hosted a friend, drove to New Mexico, hit Utah, back to Colorado. So that's hunt number 4. And then out to Montana solo.
Yeah.
And I was toast, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was toast. I said this on the last podcast, but it's like, I think I had snuck in, had an amazing, that dream hunt where you bed. It was like 9 cows and 2 bulls, one really good shooter and one kind of he was actually regressing. You could just tell he was old. He's skinny, kind of ribs showing.
Yeah.
Just a very mature bull, just not nearly the caliber. There's a much bigger bull, a big kind of big 6 but he's broken off. So he's really a 5 by, but massive. And just that whole, I took about an hour and crawled, through this. It's just a moonscape in Montana where I was hunting. Nothing there, just rocks and some little sage.
Mm-hmm.
And took about an hour and a half crawl, and look. And the wind was perfect the whole time. And just coming up this draw, got in behind a rock, sat there for another 2.5 hours. Ended up going, okay, whichever bull stands up and moves in, that's the one I'm supposed to shoot. I'm just going to let this thing play out like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Well, the smaller, probably the older though of the 2 bulls stood up, came out, got a bite, and I'm kind of okay. I'm going to get set up. And I ranged him. It's a big rock, a really like a Volkswagen sized rock.
Yeah.
So I call it on the edge. I range him, and I kind of scooch back. And there's cows could see me if they wanted to, and so I'm kind of scooch. I stand up behind the rock, and I go to draw, and the rock's too tall. I'm going to hit the rock.
Oh.
And so I have to back up and over. And then by the time I do that, I realize, oh, now he's moved and he's bedded. My yardage is off, so I let down, range him, pull back again, and tried to shoot him in his bed, shot him right through just his armpit skin.
Yeah.
Bloodied him up. He stood up and didn't range, pulled back and shot underneath him. Just a complete failure of a not of a hunt, but just didn't do it right. You know, I should have settled down and ranged him again. He was they were all looking at me standing. He was broadside, and I should have just slowed down and said, okay, do it right or don't do it.
Yeah, in those moments, it's hard, though, because sometimes you got to play ball.
It is. You just got to go. And so I was maybe 2 inches under his brisket, you know, and I think he was at 72 yards at that point. And in my mind, I was like, okay, shoot him for 65 or something. And I forget now. It doesn't, it's hard to replay.
Yeah.
So I was burnt. So this year, dude, it's just going to be fun, I think, to really just kind of go 10 days, one location, settle in. I've even daydreamed about the idea of like just having just a day off, you know what I mean? Just to like, I'll probably still hunt, but like, I know some spots where we're going, there's wallow. I've always thought I should just sit here all day one day and see what happens.
Yeah.
So, go in and just kind of take it.
When you plan an all day sit, you usually don't sit all day.
Yeah, you don't, for sure. You don't sit all day
because usually one comes in, you shoot it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've kind of daydreamed on just like really slowing down and not having to feel this pressure to go, okay, 5 days, you got to get it done, which really means you have 2 good days of hunting and a 5-day hunt where 3 days you're figuring out their patterns, right?
Sure. And they're showing up and doing what you need them to do that day.
Yeah. Right. And so, it'll just be that, man. And then I got a mule deer. It's a rifle tag, but I'll probably try and approach that with a bow,
Okay.
And just kind of weapon down.
Cool.
Here in Colorado. And that is it.
So you're doing.
Really. I mean, I'll do, some whitetail hunts that are just those kind of go by the tag and go poke around depending on the free time, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one for me is, my last season for a while, in the sense that I've been doing them. My son's going to be ready to go next year.
Yes.
So I kind of went a little heavy this year as sort of my feeling towards it is sort of a farewell tour to my current reality of the hunting space.
Yeah.
So yeah, doing Colorado bear, doing a rifle bear hunt here first, and then a muzzleloader muley hunt. And then I'll hold an archery tag here in Colorado for elk.
Yeah.
I pulled a Wyoming elk tag and
oh goodness,
mule deer tag.
So you're actually going to be really busy.
And then I'll go do the family whitetail hunt back in South Dakota, and then I'm guiding a whitetail hunt in Nebraska. So it's going to be interesting at the end.
Yeah.
Of all that.
Yeah.
Where we're at. But then I'm putting it away for myself entirely. For as long as Jake wants to hang out and hunt with me.
As long as he's willing to go with you.
And if Maya wants to, a couple years after that, she'll be with me too.
Yeah.
But
so you might have a decade here of
my whole focus is
getting to be a dad.
Totally shift, which I'm totally pumped about. But I wanted to kind of
absolutely,
in a sense, lay it all on the field one more time with the body that I have.
Yeah.
Because 10 years from now, it's going to feel different than it does now.
Because you'll be how old then? You'll be
53.
Yeah. Things will change for us by then, right?
Right. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
So you got a marathon coming up.
I have a marathon.
So we'll have to do a rewind on this and kind of go at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think a conversation at the end would be cool to have
a good conversation around how'd that go, that experience of
to have it back.
Sounds like 7 tags almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ends up being a full thing.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Which sounds perfect. It's such a killer thing, right? Because you love thinking about it all year, and then you essentially get about 10 weeks to experience all of what you want to experience. There's a little longer, you can stretch it out with some other tags, right? But for the most part around the Western mountains, that's kind of your window.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of in and out and a lot of sorry honey, I'll be back in 2 days. And then I'm gonna have a lot of making up to do post season. But
you try and leave the house clean when you leave.
Yeah, no, I'm adamant about that. And I see a lot of these guys that they give their wives grief when they want to leave on a girls' trip or whatever.
Yep.
There's only 2 correct things to say when that stuff happens. Is said, what are the dates?
Yeah.
Do you need to take any cash?
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
these
Go have fun.
dopes that give their wives crap because they got to take care of the kids for 4 days to get their wives out of
that's
town
ridiculous.
are insane.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why they get grief when they try to go hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a break.
Yep.
But anyway, we support each other back and forth that direction
Yeah.
and make it all work. But
Yep.
I think that'd be my tip, to spousal relationships for
Well, it's so
the
cool.
hunting
You
seasons.
really get that cool partnership where she goes, I see that you love this. I want to support that.
She gets it.
And you sometimes though have to encourage her to find her thing too.
Yes.
Like, well, what do you want to do that you love? Because that's
Right.
one thing I've had to work on is like encouraging my wife to find the thing that she loves so I can have balance.
Mm-hmm.
So that she has a thing like I would love to see her go off and do.
Right.
Because I do so love this but I do want her to have her thing too.
Yep.
Just because it would feel more fair, if that's a real word or not. I don't know.
Right.
There's no such thing, but
plane
we
tickets,
can play against that.
friends, family, the beach.
Whatever she wants to do.
Send
a book on the beach for her. See, so it's really an easy formula for me. So yeah. Well, dude, thanks for coming on.
For sure.
Center here. Appreciate you. Public Land Tees, bowtuneschool.com.
Yeah.
Which I love both those, and especially, the t-shirts are cool, dude. It's
been
guys do a great job.
It's been fun to do, and it's been fun to put so much of that money towards making this lifestyle maybe a little better for all of us.
You guys kind of once a year will do something cool. You guys did the duck ruck.
Yeah, the Stamp It Forward is that program. Yeah. So we try to collectively purchase as many duck stamps as we can. 98% of that money needs to go to wetlands, which is kind of why we support that program.
Yeah,
but we put somewhere between $25,000 and $60,000 a year for the duck stamp program. But
that's incredible.
It is, between corporate partners and personal donation. It's a huge stack of money.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we will give those stamps away to different organizations that are taking out new hunters or all that type of stuff. People approach us and we send them stamps. And then at a certain point, we just include them with a purchase off the website.
T-shirt or whatever.
Yep.
And
with the intention of that not being, your first duck stamp, but like take it, hand it to a friend that doesn't know about the program, educate some people around you about, maybe give them back a little extra, because you can always buy more than one duck stamp. I mean, you're entitled, you need to have one to be legal.
Yeah.
But there's no limit to what you can purchase. And we have people all the time that aren't really involved in our program directly, but are sending us pictures of 5 or 6 stamps that they bought. Just to throw a couple $100 for the ducks and geese in the wetlands of this country. And it really does make a difference. So cool.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Well, thanks again, Josh, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll circle up after the hunting
season rundown, postseason. We'll see where we're all at with it. See where we're at mentally with the process.
We'll see. I usually want to put my vote in. This won't be that way, but there's years where I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I just don't even want to look at it. So
no question.
The clothes don't get washed. Everything sits in the garage. It just has that smell.
Just like walk away. I've been there.
Yep.
Depends on the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So
cool.
All right, we'll circle up next time, bud. Hey, thanks guys for coming on FOC podcast. We'll see you next week.